Hello and welcome. My name is Katie Brown and this is KC Yoga. Today we will be doing a 60-minute yin yoga practice targeting the meridians or the energy lines of the body associated with late summer. So yin yoga is a tradition of yoga that is based on traditional Chinese medicine theory, and the theory that we are working with is that there are lines of energy that run through the body that correlate to the season, the energy that we're under, and in late summer we're working with earth energy, which is said to be associated with the yin meridian of the spleen, which runs from the earth, from the big toe, up the inner leg, up through the belly, up into the pecs. And the corresponding yang meridian, which for late summer or earth element energy is the stomach. So starting just below the pupil, mid-eye, sort of bouncing up to the head, coming back through the jaw. You can think about mastication, chewing, down through the neck, and then sort of follows that same line down through the belly and through the inner leg. So these are the areas of focus today. For practice, you might want something to prop the hips up on, either a yoga block, a couple books, maybe a bolster if you have one, a yoga blanket or a thick towel, something that can be folded into sort of a small bolster type shape will be handy as well. And we'll go ahead and get started on our backs. So coming down onto the mat, you can use your blanket as a little pillow here for support, or just have it off to the side. We'll begin by just rocking the body into position, really connecting through the back of the pelvis, the shoulder blades, the back of the head. Taking the feet slightly wider than hip width distance, let the knees fall in towards one another and just rest the hands on the body. Close down the eyes, start to deepen the breath. Begin by simply noticing how you feel in this moment, this day. Noticing the quality of the heartbeat. Noticing without judgment the quality and the location of the breath. Letting the face start to soften, softening around the eyes, the cheeks. Softening the jaw, making space between the teeth, letting the tongue fall to the floor of the mouth. Softening across the shoulders. Feeling the belly rise and fall. Dropping into your practice, committing to be here and present for our time together today. Yin yoga is a practice not of achievement but of surrender. It is a quiet practice of contemplation, of meditation. It gives you space to become aware of what's happening within. With the hands on the belly, start to deepen the breath. Feel the tissues of the skin stretch as you inhale. Feel the ribs gently fall back towards one another. Feel the low back falling to the earth as you breathe out. Couple more big breaths into the belly. Inhale, stretching the skin, expanding the ribs. Exhaling, letting the skin contract on its own, letting the low back and the ribs fall. One more, just like that. Big breath in, opening everything up. And a big exhale, letting everything fall back to the midline. Before we move, we'll take a cleansing breath. Deepest breath you've taken yet today. Pause when you feel full, suck in a little more air. Take in a little more air, softening the face, softening the jaw, holding the breath in, full, expansive. And then opening the mouth, taking a big, deep cleansing sigh to release. Reach the arms up overhead, take a big stretch. Let the low back arch off of the earth, big inhale. And on your exhale, lifting the feet, bring the knees into chest. Take the hands to the shins, rock a little side to side. Massaging the sacrum, our connection with the earth itself. Zipping up the knees, the shins, the feet will churn. The hips in one direction. We'll turn the hips the other way, releasing some of that stuck fascia at the back of the hips. Coming into our first big posture, we'll come back to center. Bring the knees apart and wide, making lots of space for the belly here. You can let the feet sort of hang in space. And you might start by taking the hands just to the shins, just below the knees. Taking a few breaths here, we're compressing through the hip crease, opening through this yin line on the inner leg. Good, and then from here, you can either stay, you can tuck your hands behind your knees, or you might bring the toes together, reaching up for the ankles or the feet. Taking sort of this butterfly variation on the back, letting the shoulders relax back to the earth. Closing down the eyes, softening into the posture by softening your breath. Relaxing across the chest, the heart. Finding a space where the breath can be nice and steady, nice and slow. We work the meridians by either elongation, a stretching sensation, or compression. We'll do a little bit of both today. Whether we are stretching the tissues or compressing them or bringing energy and blood flow to that area to help these energy lines Be free of blockages, be clear. Settle into any boredom. As the mind begins to wander, bring your attention back over and over again to the breath. Scan the body for any unnecessary gripping. Release without judgment. Taking about 3 more deep breaths into the belly, fully expand. Three more big exhales to squeeze all the air out. Breathing in, open the belly, open the ribs, open the heart. Breathing out, sweeping anything old, unuseful out with the exhale breath. Last breath in, big deep inhale. And with this exhale, open the mouth, big sigh, let it go. We'll begin to release the posture, bringing the knees back together. We'll release the feet to the mat and then stretch the legs long. Reach the arms overhead, take a big full body stretch. And then keeping the arms overhead, just relax the body into the earth. Feel the sensation in the front of the hip creases, down that long line of the leg. Giving your body just a moment to recover, to rest, to be free. Maybe wiggling the toes, maybe wiggling the fingers. If the shoulders are feeling cranky and overhead doesn't feel good with the arms, you can just let them relax by the sides. Taking just a couple more breaths here to let this front body be open in recovery. And then we'll make our way into our next posture, bringing the soles of the feet back to the mat. We'll lift the left leg up and cross it tightly over the right, as if you were seated in a chair, thighs hugged together, knees stack more or less. Press down into the right foot to lift the hips up and over just 1 inch to the left. Bring the knees up and in. And then with your exhale, let your knees drop to the right. Now, if your left shoulder starts to lift here, you might find some support underneath the legs, maybe a yoga block, maybe a bolster. As much as you can, roll the left shoulder open and down, opening that left arm out to the side. Right arm can relax out to the right or can rest on the top. Right hand can rest on the top of the left leg, the left thigh. You can keep the gaze neutral, or you can take this twist into cervical spine, picking up the head, turning the gaze to the left, and setting the head back down. Settling into your rooted twist, really take your time to find a position in which you can stay and breathe. Once you've arrived, again, close down the eyes. With each deep breath, feel this ringing sensation as we rid the body of all sorts of things. If it's too much to have the knees bound, you can always simply stack the knees, maybe extend the bottom leg. It feels better. With the bind in the knees, we work to compress that yin line, but you're getting great benefit either way. Focus the mind on the breath, and the breath on the body. Letting everything else in your conscious awareness fade away. Yin postures are typically held anywhere from 3 to 6, even 7 minutes. Today we're aiming for a cool, even 4 all around. Taking about 3 more deep conscious breaths here in your twist. Last big deep inhale breath. And a big open mouth exhale to let everything go. Slowly lifting the knees. Unwinding that left leg. Taking big circles to release. Maybe out to the side. Whatever feels good here. Don't worry too much about how it looks. Maybe some cracks and pops. Then we'll rest the left foot by the right, taking just a moment. Allow the floor to reset the spine. Notice any difference in sensation between left side and right. And then we'll press into left foot, lifting right leg up and over, hugging the thighs and the knees together. Pressing down. I like to lift my heel here, just use my toe pressing to lift the hips, this time up and over about 2 inches to the right to compensate for what we did before. Bringing the knees up and in, and then letting them fall to the left side. Now again, you might find some sort of support underneath the knees here. As you unwind that right arm out to the right. Maybe left arm relaxes nice and open. Maybe the hand rests on the top thigh. Cervical spine can be neutral, or you pick up the head and turn the gaze to the right. Really honor what's going on with your neck tonight here. Be gentle with your body. Really breathe into the sensation, like wringing out a towel. The expansion of all tissues around the spine, and then their release. Breathing into the gentle compression in the inner thighs and the groin, where the yang line comes back down to meet the yin. And once more, bringing all of your awareness to your breath and your breath to your body.
Taking about 3 more deep breaths in and out here. Taking your last big deep inhale. And a big open mouth exhale to release. Lifting the knees back up to center. Ooh. Resting on the left foot. Pedaling out that right leg. And then resting on the back for just 1 more minute before we transition up to hands and knees. Take just a moment. Notice any sensations on the right side that maybe weren't there before. Bringing the knees into chest. Roll over onto either side, whatever makes sense for your space. Then we'll just take a nice slow press to lift up to make our way onto hands and knees. Once you come into hands and knees, you'll need the blanket nearby. So rather than padding the knees with a blanket, just have it off to the side. We won't stay on the knees too long, but if you need a little padding, maybe grab an extra blanket. We'll come into tabletop and just free move the spine here, dropping the belly into cow, curling up into cat pose. Maybe closing the eyes and following your breath, just letting the spine be fluid as it moves through the air. And really whatever feels good here. Whatever it is that you need. Maybe you take some big circles with the hips. Maybe a little side to side squeeze. If you've got a lot of energy today and you'd really like to stretch the legs, you're welcome to walk the hands forward, tuck the toes, lift the hips. Move through a little downward facing dog, pedaling out the feet, shaking the head yes and no. Certainly not necessary, but if you'd like to stretch the body in this way, you're more than welcome to. We'll all just take a few more breaths, exploring whatever it is that we're exploring, giving ourselves whatever it is that we need. And then we'll meet back in tabletop, preparing for our next posture. So for now, just untuck the toes, set the hips back to the heels, and then find your blanket. Now, if you've got a yoga bolster and you'd rather use that instead, of course, you're welcome to use that. But most of us, blankets are fairly accessible. You'll want to take your blanket and fold it up into a nice tight little roll here. You can roll it if that feels better, but I like to sort of fold mine in thirds. Well, I fold it a lot of ways first. Just create a little baby bolster for yourself. Bring that in front of you. That'll be parallel to the short edge of the mat. Walk your hands forward, and we're going to start to lower the hips, bringing this blanket roll right around the belly button. So just where the low ribs start to meet. Elbows come in front of the blanket roll and stack beneath the shoulders. Take a minute to wiggle out the hips. Find a nice neutral neck here. So rather than Looking up, just a gentle gaze slightly down and forward. Maybe pick up one leg and then the other to really release the low back, relax the glutes. And once you've settled into position, the bones are holding you up here on the forearms. Close your eyes. Coming back to the breath, settling into the posture. Directing the breath to the blanket or the bolster. And that compression there with the belly. If this is painful for the ribs at all, you could try moving the blanket forward or back. Or ditching it all together. Check that you're not gripping in the legs, that you're not cranking the neck. Slow, steady breaths in your Sphinx pose. You can stay here in this version of the posture if this feels supportive to you. If there's more depth to be explored without tapping into ego, simply from a place of curiosity, you might come up to the palms, stretching the arms straight. You'll find a little more compression in the low back. Check that those shoulders don't shrug up to the ears, nice and soft through the shoulders. Again, allow that gentle compression, soften the glutes. Continue to breathe. We'll just be here for about a minute if you're lifted. So again, let the bones do the work. Just a little effort in the arms here. None in the glutes. Notice if you're squeezing. Relax. Take about 3 more deep breaths. Nice and slow, breathing in. Last one, inhale. Big open exhale, release. If you're on your palms, lower to forearms. Lowering all the way down to the mat. We're still on top of that support. Cactus the arms. Wiggle the hips a little side to side. And you're just taking your head to one side. Allowing that blanket roll to press into the belly. And just take a few breaths here to help the psoas release. Lifting up the head, turn to the other cheek. A few breaths here. You might start to feel a heartbeat in your stomach. That's okay. I know it's a little uncomfortable. Continue to breathe. Good, and then we'll bring the hands by the rib cage to press up to hands and knees. Take a moment in tabletop. And then once the spine has had a chance to neutralize, you can send the hips back to the heels. Just a transition today, about a minute in child's pose. Take your favorite variation. I like to create a box with my arms here, resting my forehead on forearms to really make space for the hips. Make this more about the low body than about the upper body, but it's your choice. Taking just a few more big, juicy, deep inhales and exhale breaths here, child's pose. And then when you're ready, making your way back up to hands and knees. You're welcome to free move the spine a little if you need a little release. One more chance to press up to downward facing dog for just a couple breaths. And then coming back to tabletop, we'll make our way into our next posture. We'll take shoelace, taking the right toes to the back of the mat, stretching the right leg long. Bring the left knee to the midline. Once you've got the left knee in the midline, kick the left toes out to the right, and then we'll tuck the right knee in behind the left, whale tailing the feet. From here, We'll start to walk our hands back, and this is where you might find something to sit on, either a block, a bolster, or folded up blanket. If your hips are feeling pretty open today, you're welcome to come all the way onto the earth. Yogi's choice. I'll turn to face you. We're gonna start with just a minute of neck work, getting up into the neck and the jaw. So with the left knee stacked as much as you can get it on top of the right, feet can be close in or out, whatever you need. Just rest the left hand either on the thigh, the foot, or the earth if your arms are nice and long. You're gonna take the right ear to the right shoulder and then gently rock the chin back and forth. Let the left arm be really heavy as you explore sensation all the way up into this left jaw and then all the way down through the neck. You can find a spot that feels extra cranky, feels like it could use a little extra breath, pausing there. You're welcome to stay, just relaxing the right hand anywhere that makes sense. Or you could take the right arm up and over, resting the right hand by left ear. Check that the spine isn't dumping to one side or the other. The thoracic is neutral, so up through the back, and then just the cervical spine, the neck, is being triggered here, being worked. And if this feels really juicy, this work on the neck and shoulder, if it feels already pretty compressed and tight through the legs, stay here. This is your pose for today. If you feel like you'd like to take this more into the low body, you can release the head, neutralize the neck, and then maybe start to crawl the fingertips forward, bowing over the legs and the knees. Neither is right or wrong. Choose your adventure. Taking about 3 more deep breaths here. Let your last breath be a deeply cleansing breath wherever you are. And if you're folded, slowly lift your way up. If you're in that neck stretch, release the top arm, release the head and neck. We'll take a moment just to sit tall and sort of tick-tock the the ears towards the shoulders. Then we'll use a little momentum to unwind, rocking forward, coming back to hands and knees. Unwinding first, your right leg, stepping it to the back of the mat, and then the left. Coming either back into tabletop for some free movement, or you might stay stretching out one leg at a time and then the other. Again, you can come up to downward facing dog, stretching both legs. You're always welcome to simply sit between postures as well. To find stillness, just to breathe. And then we'll make our way back to tabletop. Over the next couple breaths, coming into our second and last side. Taking this time left toes to the back of the mat, stretching that left leg long, bringing right knee to midline. Kicking the right foot out to the left and then tucking the left knee behind the right, whale tailing the feet. Same thing here. Start to walk yourself back, lowering the hips either to a block, a folded blanket, a bolster, or to the earth. And we'll start with that work for the neck. So relaxing the right hand down to the right hip, to the right foot, or to the floor. Take the left ear to left shoulder. Explore a little movement, chin to chest, chin to sky. Finding a spot that's not moving, settle in, stick with the breath. You can let the left arm be heavy or lift it up and over, resting left hand by right ear. Just about 1 minute here. To begin at least. This feels really good, really juicy. The legs already feel spent. Stay here. Otherwise, you're welcome to release the hand and then start to bow forward. This is our last long hold. Stay in the practice, stay with your breath. Just like in meditation, the work is to come back over and over again without judgment. Taking about 3 more deep breaths here. Wherever here is for you. Last big deep inhale. And a big open mouth exhale to let go. Walking your hands back up if you're folded. Neutralizing to release the neck. Sitting out nice and tall. A little tick-tock with the head, shoulder to shoulder. Maybe you roll the chin through the chest. And again, using a little momentum, rocking forward, coming back to the knees. Unwinding left leg first, stretching it long, and then the right. Whatever you need here to release. We'll make our way into our final pose, to our Shavasana. And here you've got some options. If you're near a wall and you need some extra grounding, some extra rest today, you're welcome to take Shavasana with legs up the wall. So just coming near a wall, spinning around to take your feet up. Hands wide. If a wall's not accessible or you really just feel like there's been already a lot of compression on the hip crease, feel free to just lay flat and take up space. We didn't do too much with the low back, but if it's feeling cranky, you might take some sort of support beneath the knees. Wherever you land, walk the shoulder blades beneath you, opening the heart and palms to the sky. Taking a moment to get really comfortable, to settle the body down and in. Releasing your practice, the postures, your control over your breath. Allow the thoughts to untether, drifting along
As they enter your consciousness, letting them leave as if on a gentle breeze. Taking this time to fully surrender, to deeply relax all tissues, all cells. Knowing that in this time, in this space, you are safe. You are free. Imagine the eyes growing heavier in the skull. The body sinking into the floor, becoming one with the earth. Imagine you start to grow roots down into the ground. These roots are strong but flexible. Full of hydration, full of everything you need. Feel your root system moving through the dark, nutrient-rich soil, expanding, growing wide on all sides. Feeling yourself becoming more and more grounded as you become more and more one with the earth. Imagine all the nutrition that you need being soaked up through these roots, filling your body, filling your skin. Imagine getting everything you need without depleting the resources of the earth. A constant replenishing, a constant rejuvenation of the gifts. As your body becomes richer with the energy of the earth, imagine little leaves starting to sprout on the surface of your skin. Imagine buds opening up to the sun. If If the legs are up the wall, imagine the legs to be branches reaching up to the sky. Imagine flower buds blossoming at your fingertips, blossoming at your toes. Imagine your full body growing green and lush. Start to deepen your breath and feel yourself fully connected, fully alive. Start to let the image of your roots, of your foliage begin to fade. Know that those roots are always there and are always grounded, connected to the earth. Feeling the newfound freedom as you start to wiggle your fingers and toes and feel your skin. Start to roll your ankles and wrists as you come back awake to the knowledge of your body, your unique and beautiful vessel. And when you're ready, stretch your arms overhead, reach your toes long. On an exhale, bring the knees into chest, whether you're on the ground or up against a wall. Give yourself a squeeze. And then when you're ready, roll to one side, pause for a moment on the earth. Center your gratitude as we transition from this late summer into fall. And then with that gratitude in your heart, use your hands to help you see, lift yourself up to an open, tall, and brand new spine. Bring the hands together at the heart, feel the balance, the harmony of having tuned into this earth energy. Having done something good for yourself, having honored where you are and where you'll be. Take one last big deep breath in through the nose, fill all the way up with new energy, new life, new air. And with a big open mouth exhale, blink open the eyes. Arrive back in your space. Release the hands. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and that practice was supportive. I'll see you again very, very soon. Thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, namaste. Peace, friends. Bye.